Can you guys hear? Sound working? Hopefully it should be working well. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Alright, just let me know in the comments if you guys can hear, if the sound's working. And then inshallah we can start. Because I don't want you guys to start and then say to me like 10 minutes later, we can't hear anything you're saying. Yeah, you can hear? Excellent, okay. Alright, so let's start then. Okay, let's have a look at some questions that you guys have. So, like I said, you guys can ask questions here if you like, or you can ask questions on the Curious Cat. That's the link for it. Okay, so let's look at the questions you guys have sent, or whoever sent them. Okay, I don't think there are that many. So if you have any other questions on the side anyway, just put it in the comments. Okay, so Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Okay, so here's some questions then. Right, so what's the questions? So how about some British names of cats? Daisy, Poppy, Emma, Mary, Jane, Liz. MashaAllah, MashaAllah. Right, look, let me get one thing straight here. Our cat doesn't have nationality. Ours is nationality neutral. It's transnationality. Right, so our cat is not into that kind of stuff. Alright, next. Hanafi, question mark. So yes, I follow the Hanafi fiqh, I learned the Hanafi fiqh, I teach the Hanafi fiqh. So that makes me follow the Hanafi fiqh. Alright, next. Assalamu alaikum Shaykh. I would like to thank you for all the videos and lessons you put up. I have benefited from you a lot and pray to continue from benefiting you. I am 28 years old, looking for somebody to do full-time hifz, and wanted to ask if you have any suggestions. I'm currently based in London, but I'm open to moving anywhere in the UK and also maybe Pakistan, but have trouble finding suitable programs. If you have any recommendations, please do share. Okay, so this is for sister looking for hifz for ladies. I'm not too sure if there's any place that does full-time hifz programs. Okay, what I'll have to do is I'll have to ask around and see if there are any, and inshallah I'll have to get back down, because I'm not sure if there's any places that does. There probably is, but it's just I'm not aware of them. So inshallah I'll have to make a note of that, and then I'll have to get back to that one. Okay, salam. This is a bit of a random question, but one I came across recently. Maybe you can give some insight to it. The husband has passed away a few months after the wedding. Does the wedding gift money given to the couple by family and friends go to the wife now, or is it to be distributed amongst the heirs? It's considered the husband's money as he is the head of the household. Okay, so if a husband and wife are gifted something, you look at the convention. What's the norm? Like in the society, what is the norm in the society? How do people basically kind of consider this money? So I think the money and any gifts are given in the wedding are 50-50. 50% for the husband, 50% for the wife. I think that's basically how it's kind of done. So if that's the case, then you treat 50% for the wife, 50% for the husband. If the husband has passed away, then his heirs are only entitled to 50% of the assets. That's it. So it's just 50%. I mean, that's how I would understand it in this society. But maybe in some societies out there, they consider it all to be for them, for the husband, right? So it's not necessarily because the husband's the head of the house that he takes everything. No, if it's given as a wedding gift, then it's shared between them. Some of the scholars do mention, like, if it's a wedding gift that's to do with women, then it's for the wife, and if it's to do with men, so like if it's like a men's perfume, it's for the man. If it's a women's perfume, it's for the woman. All right. Assalamu alaikum. What if a person masturbates during obligatory fast? Does he have to do its qada or kafara? Yeah. According to Hanafis, the majority of Hanafis say has to do qada only. Right, so it's only qada you have to do if a person does masturbate in Ramadan. Okay. Which ones? All right. So this was a question. Whilst you were in Pakistan, did you visit any other cities? Right. So yes, I did. I went to so Karachi. I was there most of the time. I went to my village, which is in Sawabi. I went to Islamabad. I went to Lahore. I went to Faisalabad. Actually, I didn't go to Faisalabad. I went to Sialkot. I went to Umarkot. I went to Rawalpindi, which is basically Islamabad. I went to Raiwand. I went to where else? Hyderabad. I went to Shahidadpur. So I went a few places. I can't remember all the names, but I went quite a few places. All right. And next, Salam. I wanted to know if white wine vinegar is halal. So white wine vinegar, yes, it is halal according to the Hanafi fiqh. All vinegars, every single vinegar is halal. Every single one. Right. So every single vinegar is halal. So enjoy the vinegars. Okay, next, Salam. What's the ruling on voting in upcoming elections and possible referendum? I consider it to be permissible. And the reason being is because this whole issue regarding people saying you shouldn't vote, or, the issue basically seems to be that if you're voting for a government that is non-Muslim, and that government is going to be implementing laws that may be contradicting the laws of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, are you technically supporting them? So this is an issue that is discussed by scholars, which is basically to do with the idea of how much do you have to support something to be counted as part of the action that's being done. So if a guy is murdering someone and you hand him the knife, are you also partly responsible for the murder? Or if you sold him the knife, are you partly responsible for the murder? Or if you dug up the metal that the knife was made of, are you partly responsible for the murder? Does that make sense? Or let's say, for example, a guy commits a murder. Are his parents responsible because they gave him birth and they brought him into existence? Or they may have not done his upbringing correctly. So what's the kind of thing? So the issue basically is that if it's something which is an immediate support, like for example, you are signing the document to let the person do the action, or you are handing over the knife, then that is sinful, right? Do not support one another in sin. That's sinful, that is. But if you are voting for someone, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're supporting everything that they do. By living in the country itself, you're buying things, you're supporting, then everyone is basically supporting the government in all the decisions. That's not true. I don't believe that just by voting you are supporting every single policy that the government makes. That's not true. Many people, they might support 80% of the policy, or 50%, or 40%, or 30%. So this is why, we're living in this country. We have to make decisions. We have to support our communities, and we have to try to choose who is, like the lesser of the two evils, you can say. Yeah, so this is why I'm going to be voting. I don't know if any of you guys are voting. Put in the comments. And if you believe, if you're on the opinion that you're not supposed to vote, fine, that's fine. But I don't think you can impose it on everyone else. Okay. If someone is practicing Islam and also studying ilm in his spare time, can he play computer games for leisure, pastime? Yes, totally fine. Just like they can play football, they can hang around in parks if they want, play badminton, like me, obviously. They can play. Have any of you guys seen the new game that I played, the pool game I played on Livestream? Let me know what you guys think. Do you guys think I should do a regular thing? Yeah, or how do you think I should go about it? Yeah, so yeah, it's fine. The only thing that you remember about games is, I mentioned this before, is that if it takes up the obligatory uh, responsibilities that you have, like the fard prayers, etc., then you're not allowed to do it. Or if it involves gambling, not allowed to do it. Yeah, etc. But otherwise, yeah, you can do it. And it's good to sometimes do something relaxing, a hobby, so you take your mind off studying as well, so you can, because we're not supposed to be studying 24 hours a day. It's not natural. And this is a Deeni activity, right? Remember, Sahaba used to spend time with their families. They used to joke around as well. But it's just because it does not like fall under one of the categories of salat and zakat, and it doesn't mean we can't do it. Like some people assume that as a Muslim you can only do something which is mentioned in the books of fiqh. If it's not mentioned in the books of fiqh, like the books of fiqh don't mention just going for a drive, right? So you can't say, well, going for a drive is a waste of time. It's fuzul kharchi, or no. Sometimes you need to relax your mind. Sometimes you need to chill out, go swimming, go to the park, yeah, go for a walk. All these things are good because a person needs time to kind of like recuperate, yeah, recharge their batteries. Okay, assalamu alaikum. Juma day, why do imams give a bayan, deliver, not same khutbah? I don't understand that question. Are you saying why do imams give a different talk to the the khutbah, or are you saying why do they give two separate talks and why not one? Is that what you're asking? If you're asking why do the imams give two separate talks and not just one talk, well, the issue is basically is that it all goes down to what language should the khutbah be in. Should the khutbah be in Arabic, or should it be allowed in any local language? Some of the scholars in the opinion it has to be Arabic, so that's why they have a little reminder in their local language before the khutbah, and so they keep the khutbah in the Arabic language. And the other scholars who say that no, the khutbah does not have to be in Arabic, it can be in a local language. That's why they will do the khutbah in one khutbah, as in the khutbah in the local language. Okay, all right, next. Regarding eating the vegetarian pasties and pizza subs at Greg's, Pound Bakery, etc., and eating at restaurants that serve haram food alongside vegetarian food, there is a possibility of cross-contamination of vegetarian food with haram food, e.g. ham, with the cookware used. So is it permissible to eat? So what I would say to people is, look, you should ask the staff, say, is there cross-contamination? Because you have a right to ask, right? They should give you that information. So you ask the waiter, you say to the waiter, look, is there cross-contamination? Because if there is cross-contamination, then that means the food that you're eating is going to be considered to be haram, as in haram ingredients are going to be mixed with the food that you eat. So I would ask. Plus nowadays the rulings are becoming tighter thanks to vegetarians and vegans, right? So they're the ones that make the fuss for us. So many of us don't want to make a fuss, but these are the guys that are making the fuss for us. And now we actually, in the name of vegetarian and vegans, we can actually say, well, we want to know, is the food contaminated? Is cross contamination taking place? Are you using the same cutlery? And sometimes I'll do that. I'll ask, in places that is there cross contamination. If there is, then I'll say I'd rather not eat that. What kind of things are there? Is there not? So find out. As a Muslim, we should have our principles and we shouldn't be shy of asking these things. Yeah, so okay, that's the answer to that. Are women allowed to visit graveyards here in the UK as long as they control their emotions? Is it okay for them to go to the graveyard without mahram? Yes, it is permissible according to many of the scholars, Hanafi scholars. Some Hanafi scholars say no, they can't. And the reason is because there's a narration where the Prophet ﷺ, he said, I used to prohibit people from going to the graves, now go. But there's also a narration which says the Prophet ﷺ has cursed those women who regularly visit the graveyards. Yeah. But what does this mean then? So some of them have said that this means that women should not be going to the graveyard. Right? And what's the reason? Well, we don't really know the reason, but we've been told by the Prophet ﷺ and we should obey that. Others say no, he was talking about certain type of women at his time who used to make it such a habit that they were there all the time. And then they began to make it a ritual of visiting the graveyard and starting to do things that were not like part of like the Jahiliyyah, what they used to do in Jahiliyyah. So he wanted to get that out of their system. So this is what later scholars have said, because this shirk and these kind of things are now non-existent in the Muslim community in that sense. So therefore now they can visit and they don't need a mahram to visit. The only thing I would say is the normal things that a woman would do when she goes outside when it comes to hijab and stuff like that. Just do that. Okay, next. The forgotten call da'wah of calling people to Tawheed. Sadly, everyone's got an opinion of how we Muslims should be moving forward. In the West, some are happy knocking on doors and calling people to the masjid. Some are happy to engage in politics and call it a fard, to speak. And yet the obligation of the beard and others are non-existent in their lives. And then some calling people to Tawheed. Given all these movements, how can we look at the seerah and go about implementing the Sunnah lifestyle in this day and age? Should we start from bottom up or top down, as the political brothers claim? Right. So this is a tough question. I don't really have much, I'm not really specialized in this kind of field, as in politics or in da'wah. This is not my field. And like I tell you all the time, if it's not my field, I'll tell you straight. So therefore, my answer is just going to be based upon my experiences. I haven't studied anything specific to be able to say these kind of things. Look, what we have to understand is a very important thing, and that is that when it comes to us trying to implement Sharia into our lives, implement Islam into our lives, we have to first of all understand that what are the similarities between our society and between the society of the time of the Sahaba. So we make a note of those, right? So we note down, okay, there were people there, okay, there were different communities there. Okay, and then we make a list of all the differences between our society and their society. So for instance, like they didn't have a governing body, we have a governing body. They didn't have a system of education that's compulsory to a certain age, we do have that. They didn't have a system where you have to, to get a house, you have to earn so much money. We do have that. They didn't have this issue of roads. They didn't have an issue of, foreign policy that was global foreign policy. So there were so many things that they didn't have that we have, and there's so many things that they had that we don't have. So when people try to look at seerah, for example, they try to study seerah and they try to take directly from the seerah, verbatim, and they try to apply in their society, there's big mistakes in that. Firstly, because seerah, the science of seerah, is not a categorical science. It's not like a clear-cut source of our Deen. Yeah, many people might be surprised at this. The science of seerah, in fact, is, according to the scholars, many of the reports in seerah don't fit the criteria for us to accept them in the science of usul hadith. So any of you guys who have studied usul hadith would be very familiar with the idea of chains, and the science of seerah doesn't have chains. Like Imam Ahmad said, one of the most baseless sciences is seerah. So if it's so baseless, why do we study it then? So we study it because at least it gives us a picture of how life was in them days. That's all it is. It's just like telling us what life is like. So this is why we can get general concepts, understand certain concepts and premises from the seerah, and think in our lives, okay, we need this. There's an idea of Makkah life was very hardship. Medina life was a bit more easy. Makkah life, there was less laws. Medina life, there was more laws. Makkah life, it was Muslims against idol worshippers. Medina life, it was more interaction with the Jews and the Christians, and it was hypocrites involved as well. Makkah life, there was no battles. Medina. So we get these understandings, and we can say yes, these are true. But the kind of like succinct sort of like flowing of the seerah stories that we have, that's something which is not the same. Right. So this is why when we're trying to understand, this is why we have fiqh. Because fiqh, the reality of fiqh is the understanding of the fuqaha, the scholars, of what the Sharia means in our society. Like it's like applied Sharia. So one is the Sharia, which is theoretical, and one is applied. So this is why we have we follow the opinions of the experts, the scholars, to try and understand this. So in today's society, what do we follow? Do we follow, for example, the Tablighi brothers, whose mission is to go and knock on people's doors and revive the Muslims once again? Because Muslims, like historically in the time of Sahaba, you didn't have this mass negligence of the fara'id in the Sahaba. You didn't have this. But all of a sudden, in our era now, we have this mass, like the number of people who are not praying 5 times salat, number of people who are, not doing the obligatory acts they're supposed to do, is something that didn't exist at the same level in the times of Sahaba. So the Tablighi brothers are focusing on this revival, to revive the Muslims once again. And then you have some who are focused on, well, let's try to get the Muslims a government. Let's bring the government back. The first and foremost thing we need to do is get a Khalifa or a Muslim government in place. The Khalifa will sort everything out. Again, this is very problematic, because if you look at the Sahaba never followed this sort of like a principle of getting the Khilafah. The Prophet ﷺ, he actually implemented it in a very gradual manner, and it was just changing certain rules in the society. So this is why this in itself is a very long discussion, whether the Khilafah is, how is Khilafah supposed to be? Is there supposed to be a Khalifa? Can we have a president? And is that in place of it? Do we just need a body, Islamic body? Do we need a body that will respect the Islamic laws, etc.? So there's so much discussion in that. So we have all these movements. Now, everyone is trying to do good. That's the thing. And without a doubt, there's many sincere people in every movement that you have. And at the same time, you have many, you can say, naive people in every movement as well. So it's never, no movement is perfect. If you had differences amongst the Sahaba, you are going to get differences amongst later movements. That's undoubtedly true. So this is why we have to try and work together. We work together, we try our best to be able to live in a society. Those people who are trying to bring change into government, maybe they become more familiar with how governments work. Maybe they need to try, if trying to topple a government and bring in a Khalifa is not going to work, try some other method, right? Try some other method. Trying to get into politics, try to change policy. If you're saying, well, even if I get into politics and I become a minister, even the prime minister, I still can't make my own decisions. I still have to work with the other parliament, and my decisions are just going to be washed away with whatever they say. So it's like the whole the administration, or you can say the institute, it's messed up. So it doesn't matter who comes in there, the institute is not functioning correctly. So there's lots of things to do with that. So like I said, this is like a long discussion anyway. How can we look at the seerah? So what I would say is, look, we need to first of all start off with trying to support one another in our community. We need to bring back unity in the community. That's the biggest thing that we need to have. That's the one thing that Muslims can say that we can proudly achieve. We can achieve it because our values are very solid, and it happened in the past before and it can happen again. Unity is the most important thing. How do we achieve unity? I think that is the biggest problem that we have. We don't want to achieve unity. Unity for many of us, it's like some people are saying these guys are the enemies, and some say no, those are the enemies, and some say this Muslim group is the enemies, and some say this Muslim leader is the enemy, and everyone's has this conspiracy theory about everyone else, and everyone thinks that their group is doing well. So this is why I think unity is the most important thing. Like I said in the beginning, I'm not an expert in politics and these kind of things. This is my just opinion. Maybe your opinion is different. Maybe you're saying, well, I believe this is how it should be. That's fine. Okay. Someone's asked, what's your take on voting in the upcoming elections? I've answered that one. I don't vote as I feel uneasy in doing so, given the scholars are for and against it. This is not to say I'm more pious than scholars, but my heart feels. Yeah, if you don't want to vote, fair enough. There's lots of non-Muslims who don't vote. Don't want to vote, it's fine. Is it true that Hanafi madhab allows beef gelatin to be eaten? It's not like the Hanafi madhab. When we say beef gelatin, we have to understand beef gelatin didn't exist when Abu Hanifa and his students were discussing the Masail. What the Hanafi madhab says basically is two things. One thing the Hanafi madhab says is any sort of ingredient or any sort of substance which transforms and becomes something else, it becomes halal. So if you have a pig and you were able to transform pig flesh through a process, through a chemical process, into something else, you made it into something else, right? Then that becomes permissible. And it's based on the idea that vinegar is made from alcohol. In the days of Sahaba, vinegar is made from alcohol. So because alcohol is haram, but when it goes through a changing process and it becomes vinegar, it becomes allowed. So this is the first principle they have. Second principle the Hanafis have is that all animals, apart from pig, all animals' bones and hair and fur is considered to be pure. Yeah, all animals' hair and is pure. It's not halal to eat, but it's pure. So because that's the case, what happens now is if something is extracted from a dry bone, then that is considered to be pure as well. So gelatin is kind of extracted from bones. So because of that, there'd be scope in that. So this is what the late Hanafis, the contemporary Hanafis, when they discuss this masala, they say this, that gelatin itself, first of all, does it go through a process because it's extracted from the animal? It can be extracted from bones and from skin. So if it's extracted from the animal, does it go through enough of a process to change? If it does, then it's allowed, and if it doesn't, then it's not allowed. And if it's extracted from dry bone, then it's allowed. And if it's extracted from hide, animal skin, then it's not allowed. Right? So this is why there's this issue. A lot of people don't understand how comes the scholars say that it's allowed. Now, Hanafis actually say there's many animal parts that are allowed even if the animal is not slaughtered. For example, leather is from an animal. Even if the animal is not slaughtered in the halal way, you can wear a leather jacket. It's fine. Yeah, so this is why, this is where the issue comes from. Personally, I would say try to avoid eating gelatin, especially if it's pork gelatin, you can't eat it. Beef gelatin, there's some ikhtilaf scholars have in modern day. I would say to be safe, try to avoid it. Right, try to avoid it to be safe. Okay, I think those are all the questions. Not that many questions today on Curious Cat. Okay, let's check out the questions you guys have over here. Ya Allah. Alright, so okay guys, so as you guys told me, get a second hat. So this is the second hat I got. Yeah, so say Mubarak. Okay, wa alaikum assalam, Sunny Black, MP, salam, Haydar Ali, wa alaikum salam, mashallah, mashallah. Okay, I mentioned the comments if you had seen it. Okay, what was the question about mortgages? If you can repeat the question again. Okay, ما الحكم عن مقدار لحية عند الحنفية بيد؟ الحكم هناك اختلاف عند المتأخرين المعاصرين اليوم يختلفون في هذا الأمر، فبعضهم يقولون أنه يجوز قص اللحية ما دام هناك شيء من الشعر حول اللحيين، وهناك آخرين يقولون لا، بل لا بد أن يكون اللحية أو تكون اللحية أطول من القبضة. نعم. During Zuhr and Asr, when praying in Jama'at, should Surah Fatiha be recited quietly by the Jama'at, or does the Imam recite it for you? Yes, I think you're saying the same thing, I think. So according to Hanafis, the Imam recites it for the people, therefore the people don't have to recite it. The people just stay silent. Okay, missionary, yo mama, salam, salam. What kind of name is that, man? MashaAllah. MP, what type of cat is it? Breed. What type of cat is it? Breed? I have no idea what kind of cat it is. I mean, are you talking about my cat? I don't know what breed is this. It's, I don't know, what do you call it? It's a meow cat. New breed. Okay, Hamida Najiri. Is it Najiri? I'm probably pronouncing it wrong. Is it compulsory for a Muslim woman to wear niqab, sitara? There is an ikhtilaf with regards to niqab. Some of the scholars say that it's necessary, others say that there's not. What I would say is that a woman looks in a society, if she is able to wear a niqab and she feels comfortable wearing it, then she should try to wear it. And if she can't in the community, and as long as she's covering the rest of her body up, hands and face are not considered to be awra according to the scholars. Answer this pashto. Stanum sade. Zamanum liaqadde. Stanum sade. MashaAllah. پختو معنی پوهیږي پختو معنی نه پوهیږي okay missionary yo now see I've confused you now no it's not no okay all right hello sister Angela mashallah sister Aisha Rawat wa alaikum assalam Khan wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Okay, why now? I was reading that our voluntary acts of worship will make up for missed obligatory acts. Hadith along the lines, if complete obligatory prayers of my slave will be the voluntary ones. True? Yes, this is true. Are you still thinking about cutting your hair? I had suggested just trimming it, but my thought evolved. It has become a hassle or just a plain feel like then go for it. It will grow, inshallah. Yeah, so yes, I'm gonna inshallah think about cutting my hair. Yeah, it's gone very long, so sometimes it looks okay, sometimes it looks like Amazon rainforest. So jazakallah khair for your feedback. Creepy old man, do you live in Sweden? No, I don't live in Sweden, I live in the UK. Okay, why now? You mentioned in a lesson that Hajj done from haram money will be accepted, but we've always heard that Allah Ta'ala is pure and He only accepts that which is pure. I'm confused. Yeah. So when it comes to basically, like the thing is that look, when it comes to acts of worship, there is no act of worship apart from zakat that requires money. Right? Even Hajj doesn't require money. Like, okay, technically to get to the destination you require money, but in reality it's just acts that you're carrying out. So that's why the Hanafis say that the act that's being carried out, if it's as long as it's done, you've done your obligation. This goes down to I mentioned this in Usul al-Shashi as well. This goes down to the issue of prohibitions in Sharia. So the Hanafis say when Allah prohibits something in Sharia, then that prohibition, if it's what we call a religious prohibition, nahi shar'an, then the act that is done will be considered to have dropped from the obligation of a person, but it will be deficient. So for example, the example they give is like if a person, let's say, intends to rob a bank, and then he goes on a journey. So he's gone to, let's say, rob a bank in a different city. He's gone on a journey, and now he's on that journey. So does he pray qasr? So the Shafi say no, he doesn't pray qasr, because qasr is a ni'mah from Allah, and a person cannot like benefit from the ni'mas from Allah if they're intending to do sin. So the Hanafi say, well, look, he's gonna pray anyway, isn't he? So the prayer has nothing to do with the sin. The sin is like an external factor. It's like something extra to the ibadah. So it's like, imagine the act of worship, whether the sin is there or not, will be carried out. But the sin, it kind of brings some sort of deficiency to it. So going back to your question, so when it comes to the issue of Hajj, yes, there is a hadith which mentions that Allah is pure and He only accepts pure. What do we mean by accept? That's the thing. Yeah, so what do we mean by accept? So what we say is that as long as the boxes of the fara'id are ticked off, the act itself will be accepted at the level meaning that you've done your job. But acceptance with the meaning of reward, like get rewarded. So there's two things Hanafi say. One is acceptance, as in the boxes have been ticked off, and one is reward. So they say that the two are not treated the same. So this is why the hadith is actually encouraging people to make sure that every single aspect of the act of worship is done purely for Allah. But if there's any deficiency in there, as long as the main boxes of the ibadah are ticked off, the fara'id, then Hanafi say the act will be done. Yeah, it's just like, a person who, let's say, prays in a makruh time, or if a person prays in a land that's been usurped, salat will be done, Hanafi say, but it's be considered to be deficient. Manfado, wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi. Jazakumullah khair, thank you very much, mashallah. Okay, why now? Can women show their childhood pictures to non-mahram men without hijab? They'd get an idea of their hair color. I mean, I would say no. Right? No, they shouldn't show it without hijab. They got no hijab, they shouldn't be showing this, because the idea of hijab is to, to conceal the adornment, the beauty of a woman from other people that are not supposed to see. So if you taken a picture yesterday, right? You shouldn't be showing this. Yes, if it's childhood, as in prepubescent, that should be okay. Prepubescent should be okay, but childhood, as in, like some people might assume childhood in the teens, late teens as childhood. If it's young age, childhood, prepubescent should be okay. Okay, Angela Smith, where is it in the Quran that hijab should be worn at all times? No, it's not in the Quran that women should wear hijab all times. What the Quran says is that the women should cover themselves, right? So this is in the context, the scholars say this is in context of being in front of other foreign men, so other men outside the family. That's all. So women only have to cover themselves up in 2 times. Once when praying salat, so when you're praying prayer, they cover. And secondly, when in front of foreign men, like men outside the family. Okay, Hassan Khan, Sheikh, did you get my message regarding Surah Yasin? Okay, where did you send it? Did you text it to me? Okay, Sharif Will, wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Why now? I'm in my house, no one's allowed to throw food, and my ummi says it's a sin to throw food, so she might have a bad stomach later on, but will always finish her food, whereas I say we are humans and have dignity, who and we shouldn't force ourselves to eat when we are full. Who is Islamically right? So this is a good question. So obviously it seems as though you and your ummi are both mujtahids in this issue. So both of you are technically right, as in we shouldn't waste food, and at the same time we shouldn't be filling our stomachs up too much. So the issue basically is that fuqaha mention, they say that you should not be wasting food unless you're unable to eat it. If you're unable to eat it, then if the food can be stored for a later time, then you store it, and if it can't be stored for a later time, then you can either give it to animals to eat or you can throw it away. But it's the wasting is if you put too much for yourself, right? That might be potentially sinful. If you know you're not going to eat that much and you put lots and lots of food for yourself. So who is Islamically right? So I am the judge, so I will make the decision, and the judgment goes why now is correct. Okay, Salam Ustaji, Alaikum Salam Rahmatullah, AQM2274. You sound like the name of a gun or something. Okay, should we be opting in or out of NHS organ donors? So, I mean, my position on this donor thing is the position of Mufti Zubair Bhatt and Mufti Faraz Adam, which is that there is permissibility for, donating organs if a person wishes to. So what I would say is you leave it up to the discretion of the person. If a person feels that, look, in today's society, a lot of people will benefit from if I was to donate some parts of my body, and it's not going to go to waste. I mean, doctors are going to, be careful with it, and they're not going to harvest it, and they're not going to be doing all sorts of black market things with it. Then, you can go for it. And if you feel that, look, I'm not happy with it, there's many scholars who don't allow it still, then that's totally fine. So I would say whatever position you take, you won't be wrong. I would say whatever position you take, you won't be wrong. And I was actually thinking about this the other day, and I was thinking to myself, sometimes you hear, about some of your friends or some of your family or some of your students even who are ill and they need organ transplants, liver transplant, kidney transplant, heart transplant even. And imagine how that person would feel if they knew that they could get an organ, right, from a person, and they could survive with that. It's something which is like life-changing for a person. It could bring so much happiness to a person's family, and they're obviously not going to kill you and take your organs and use them. Obviously it's going to be after death. Okay, what is the best cure for a crazy wife? MashaAllah. Okay, go to Google, type in what is the best cure for crazy wife, and I'm sure you'll find many people have given their answers there. Okay, can you put flowers on a person's grave? Some Muslims do this. There's a difference of opinion, but there's scope for it. And the reason being is because once the Prophet ﷺ, he walked past some graves and he saw some graves there, and he said these 2 people in the graves are being punished for a sin they committed. One of them is being punished because they weren't careful with the urine, and the second one is being punished because you would gossip a lot. So he took 2 branches of a tree, and he planted them in each of the graves, and he said, so long as these are moist, it's going to ease the burden for them. So some of the scholars say they take this and they say that this shows permissibility of putting flowers at graves, right, following the Prophet ﷺ. And others say no, this actually is not allowed for us, but it's allowed for the Prophet ﷺ because he was the messenger of Allah, and his touch, like him touching the plant and him planting it, had an effect on the people. So there's the 2 positions there. Okay, the fun salam these days, I'm getting depressed. Any tips? I don't know, bro. I mean, try to stay in good company. Try to hang out more. Try to go out outside the house. Go maybe to the park sometimes. Play football. Do a hobby, some sports with other people as well. Try that and speak to other people who have gone through this, and they can help you, inshallah. Allah make it easy for you. Okay, why now? I've read that if someone else pays your zakat and you make the niyyah for it, then your zakat is done. I don't understand how it's possible. Doesn't defeat the whole purpose of zakat? So basically, look, giving zakat basically works like this. You have a certain amount of wealth that has been with you for an entire year, and because you've got this wealth for an entire year, then you're obliged to help the poor with a percentage of this wealth. So either you give it from this wealth, or someone else can say to you, well, should I give zakat? In other words, what they're doing, they're gifting you that wealth. Does that make sense? So in other words, if someone gifts wealth to you and you accept it, that's fine. So if, let's say you've got £1,000 and then you're supposed to give 2.5% of £1,000, which is £25, and someone says to you, well, shall I do zakat on your behalf? I.e., shall I gift you £25? Yeah, and you said, yeah, it's fine. That's totally fine. Because the aim is not that you give zakat from your wealth that you have. You can give from any wealth you want. So if someone gifts you wealth, that's also your wealth. Yeah, so this is why it doesn't really defeat the purpose. What the Hanafis don't allow is, because the Hanafis say, look, there are so many narrations where the Prophet ﷺ has allowed other people to pay off other people's debts. So like there were incidences where someone had a debt and another person said, O Messenger of Allah, can I pay off his debt? And the Prophet said, yes, you can. So this is also something that is encouraged in Islam. So this is why zakat is considered to be a form of debt. So by someone gifting, voluntarily on their behalf for that debt, it's something which is highly rewarding. What we can't do on someone else's behalf is, for instance, ibadat, Hanafi say, physical acts of worship. So Hanafi say you can't do physical acts of worship on someone. You can't pray 5 times salat on someone's behalf. That's something they have to do themselves. Okay, next. Did you eat biryani again? I did eat it again, but not today. Yeah, I've ate it, alhamdulillah, mashallah. I had some very, very nice one. Yeah, some very good biryani. I had some very bad biryani and some in between. And did you eat biryani? Have you had any mince pies yet? Mince pies? No, I haven't. I would like to have some mince pies. What Sharif will? Assalamu alaikum. Is it permissible for a Muslim to be a licensed firearms dealer business? If so, can one sell to non-Muslims? Just an academic question. Yes, Islamically, according to Hanafis, yes, it'll be totally permissible. As long as the Hanafis say it's not permissible if it's at the time of war. So if it's at the time of war, like for example, rebellions taking place, or there's civil strife, or something like that, or there's some gang members who are going to use it to kill people, right? Then in that case, no. But if you just don't know, if you don't know the people, or if you don't really have any sort of inclination of what they're going to do with it, because it can be used for good, it can be used for bad, it can be used for self-protection, and it can also be used for preemptive attacks. Okay, why now? You are on a roll with the questions. Okay, why now? Last time you said these are all Pakistani names and your kitten is British. Now you're saying she's not British. You don't have much consistency in your usul naming cat. Yeah, because my cat's trans nationality. It's a new thing I came out with. Yeah, so it's changed. Okay, is it permissible for a person to sell e-cigs or run an e-cig shop? I see Muslims running these shops. I mean E6. You're talking about vaping, yeah? Yeah, there's scope for it. There's scope. There's a big ikhtilaf about this issue anyway, about vaping and about shisha. And so yeah, there is permissibility for it. Why now? Do you get time to study with a sheikh? If you had a chance, who would you share? I actually do study. So I regularly study online. And I think everyone should study, or even all scholars should still be studying. And it kind of keeps them in check as well. So sometimes I have questions, I need to ask people. So generally I ask scholars questions. I always ask scholars questions. People who are specialized in certain areas, I ask them. And I also study. I study. In fact, I study Quduri, Hanafi fiqh book. So I've studied Quduri. I teach Quduri as well, but I study with a group of scholars around the world, and it's quite in-depth kind of discussions we have. So it's not like a normal class where it's just making notes. So we make notes, and also there's inputs that we have as well. Okay, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, hair and other sacred relics allegedly associated to him, are they authentic? I don't think so. I haven't really checked it out, but I don't really think that they're authentic, because I mean, Allah knows best how they've been preserved. Is there any sort of like a sunnah for them, some sort of like a chain transmission? I don't know, but I assume they're not. Sharif, assalamu alaikum, can one improve yaqeen? Can one improve yaqeen as in strengthen the yaqeen? Yes, of course. Yaqeen is basically how sure you are about something. Right? Sometimes you're very sure and sometimes you're less sure. And that's what it's all about. So things that we can detect with our senses, we're always 100% sure about them. So if you're seeing me now, so you're 100% sure that I'm live. But things that you're told, you might have doubts in there. Right? So you're told about something that happened in history. Right, so that level of yaqeen could fluctuate. Likewise, being told about the hereafter, being told about Day of Judgment, about Jannah, Jahannam, you could fluctuate. You could, think about it. You might think, sometimes you listen to a talk and it's as though you can see with your eyes, and sometimes you might not even think about it all day. So yeah, definitely, yaqeen can change. Why now? How do we know zakat and hajj are mutlaq an al-waqt? Yeah, so we know that Hajj and Zakat are mutlaq an al-waqt because this is according to majority of the scholars, right? Majority of Hanafis. Some of the Hanafis, they actually say that no, you have to do Hajj and Zakat, ASAP, and if you don't do ASAP, you're sinful, like Abu Yusuf rahimahullah is attributed saying. And the reason is because we only call something muqayyad bil waqt if a time has been mentioned for it. And if it's not mentioned for it, we just say it's mutlaq an waqt. So, for instance, like zakat, there is no like time mentioned that you have to give it for. So the time actually starts when your year passes. That's when the obligation is upon you. But when do you exactly have to give it? That we don't really have like a time that's mentioned for that. But for salat, we do. That's the thing. For fasting and salat, these are two things that times have been mentioned. Is the kitten asleep? I think so. Early on, she was basically playing around, jumping up and down, and she was like just jumping on me, jumping on my knee, jumping here on this thing here. I made some recordings of it, and I'll put them up. And well, I've got that toy as well. I don't know where the toy is. Yeah, she just loves that toy stick with the, and I just keep that tied, and it's just jumps and goes crazy. I think she's got some jinn in her, guys. So if there's any of you guys who know how to do cat ruqyas, yeah, please. Okay, Ultimate Challenger Gamer. Salam Ustad. I'm sure there is a hadith or Quran ayat that one does not read the Quran or neglected it will go against individual on the Day of Judgment. However, for me, I have 4 bad quality Quran which I just leave on the shelf and okay, I lost that one. Shelf, and then I have one brand new one, good quality one that I read daily basically on the Day of Judgment. Okay, I get what you're saying. So no, the hadith does not mean that a copy of the Quran you have to read every day. The hadith is talking about the Quran itself. So whether you read it from your phone or from a copy or from your memory, doesn't matter. Like if you never touched the Quran in your entire life but you knew it from memory and you kept on reading from memory, then it's fine. So it's not about having a copy of Quran that you don't touch. It's talking about the Quran itself, like the ultimate word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that would be fine. Okay. Have you ever been to a switching Christmas lights on event in your city or elsewhere? I haven't really. I never knew that there wasn't such an event. I thought they just put them on. Like sometimes, in October, end of October, November, you just like one day you were driving down the road, there was no lights on, and the next day you went, then there's lights on. You thought, well, it's like one of those, at night time when the lights come on. I thought it's one of those things that it's timed in the year. So is there an event? Interesting. Okay, Adil Q. Sheikh, what do you say about those who claim voting in Western democracies is shirk, as legislation is for Allah alone? I would say this is exaggerated, because again, what the Quran is mentioning about hukum is for Allah, is referring to accepting the laws that Allah has sent down, accepting those as being ultimate laws. So if, for example, pray salat, give zakat, etc., these kind of things, these are, and whoever does not accept these, whoever does not accept that these are the things that we should live our lives by, then that person has done oppression. That person may even leave the fold of Islam. And otherwise, if there's things in a society which require some sort of consultation, or it requires some sort of arbitration by someone, or discretion by a particular society, then there isn't anything wrong with that. Sahaba did that, Tabi'een did that. Yeah, like laws regarding calendars, there's nothing explicit in the Quran regarding that. Or there's laws regarding minting coins, building roads, stuff like that. So yeah, if the government kind of says, well, everyone has to believe that there's two gods, and you accept that, then obviously that's shirk, that is, right? But if you don't accept it, if you live in a society and say, I don't accept this, then you're not agreeing to it. Okay, nice hat. Where is it from? This hat is, take a guess. Who can guess where this hat is from? I'm gonna put the label up front here so you guys can see. Yeah, so see who can get it. I'm not gonna say any prize because I know some of you guys are just gonna quickly Google it and you're gonna find the answer, and then I'm gonna have to post to you the prize. But don't worry, a prize giveaway is gonna come soon. Yeah, so I do want to put this sign up. You guys can see that sign there. There's a sign. Yeah. Okay. Mubarakna jazakallah khair. Thank you very much. Why now? Please explain, how are we meant to pray on the plane, train, and if car, but can't get off? Okay, so this is a good question. How do you pray on some sort of moving vehicle or in the air? So basically, the idea is that we have to pray right when the time comes in, and there's conditions for us praying, and one of the conditions is we have to pray standing is like an obligation. So therefore that's why the scholars in the past, and hadith is hadith as well, where the Prophet ﷺ would not pray the fard on a mount, like he wouldn't pray sitting on a mount, on an animal. He would get off for it and pray on the ground. And as for other prayers, he would pray on the mount. So he would sit on a camel and he pray nafil. And even if he wasn't facing the Qibla, he would still pray. So we know that's allowed. That's one thing. Second thing is what about praying in a car? Is it similar to on a mount? So the scholars say yes, it's the same. So therefore, if we're in a car and time of salat comes, you stop the car, pray on the side and carry on. The problem now is that you can't technically stop anywhere nowadays, especially on motorways. You can't stop anywhere. What if it's heavy rain? What if it's dangerous outside? What if it's very dark? What if it's you're on your own and you're scared something might happen? In that condition, because there is a valid reason there, you're allowed to pray sitting. Now, if you're allowed to pray sitting, now should you later on make this up? So some of the scholars say yes, you should do qada of it, because you prayed, but you didn't pray at the optimum according to the optimum way, so you should make it later. But others say no, you don't have to make it, because Allah doesn't burden a person more than they can bear in Islam. So therefore, at that particular moment in time when you were driving on the motorway and it was raining and it was dark and you were scared to stop somewhere, then at that moment Allah will never burden you more than you can bear. Like Allah would not burden you to stop on a hard shoulder and go into a field, scary at night time, and with the rain and everything, and pray over there. So therefore, whatever situation Allah had burdened you with, you just have to do that. Plane, on the other hand, the issue with the plane issue is some of the scholars have discussed, is it like you're not connected to the land? So can salat be prayed if you're not connected to earth? Because there's a narration which says that, all the entire earth has been made a masjid. So, but when you're in the air, you're not on the land. But if you're on a first floor, second floor, third floor, or even at the top of the Bruj Tower, you're still connected to the land. You're still like connected to something that's connected to the earth. So some scholars say salat is not valid on a plane, and that you have to do qadas later on. And other scholars say no, it is allowed, because the hadith was talking about the norm of that time. The norm of that time was salat was normally prayed on earth. So that's why. And if you are praying in the air, or if you are outside the atmosphere in space, then you pray salat in whatever condition you're in. Okay, Goldie Lopez, hell, astaghfirullah, no hell, hello, very good. The Quran says about how the earth is like a carpet, but in theory it's not flat. Yes. Is that a question? Is that just a comment? I don't understand. Anwar Patel, Walaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. How do I get rid of jealousy and appreciate what Allah has given me rather than complain of what Allah has given? Yes, a good question. And I'm going to give you the most powerful answer to this. Help the poor. Once you start helping the poor, go to homeless gatherings where you're helping feed the homeless. Go to poor villages, visit them regularly, and this will bring appreciation of what Allah has given you instantaneously. Try it. Tried and tested method. Okay, Gold Lopez, nice to see you in live. Jazakallah khair. Thank you very much, Gold Lopez. Nice to see you as well. MP, I didn't understand your Pashto because I'm not Pashto. I just knew that one question. Yeah, I think everyone knows that one question. And obviously, you have to be special to know Pashto. Yeah, because the Pashtuns in the world, special people by. Yeah. If you're Pashtun, put in the comments. And I'm from the tribe of Jadun. So if you guys don't know who Jadun tribe are, Google, type in, Jadun tribe, and you'll find a whole website about us. Yeah, and what we're good at. Okay, how do I encourage someone who does not pray 5 times a day, Salah? I mean, best thing with people, I would say, is tell them virtues. Right? Nowadays, we're living in a time where if you tell people to do something, they're probably gonna become defensive. So just encourage them, tell them the virtue, the fadail of praying, etc. When a child is under 10. Okay, Hassan Khan, Facebook. Okay, so I don't really have Facebook Messenger on my phone. So if I do get to check my messages, it's going to be on my computer. So I haven't had a chance to check them yet. But I'll have a check, inshallah, after live stream, inshallah. Anwar Patel, I'm Hanafi. Should I repeat my salat that I prayed behind Salafis at university because they do masa and cotton socks? No, I would say don't repeat your salats. It's fine, because there is a valid ikhtilaf regarding wiping on socks, modern socks. That's according to my research, and I would say yes, fine. Yeah, so pray behind them, inshallah, and you don't have to repeat the prayer. Walaikum assalam. When traveling with a group of Muslims that do actual combining of salat you mean, and you do apparent combining Hanafi fiqh. I don't understand. If you can explain that properly, I'm not too sure what you meant there. Alhamdulillah, I'm right then. Is a woman allowed to show her hair to a potential spouse, or is it just face and hands and feet allowed? Yeah, just face, hands and feet, that's it. Not the hair, unless obviously there is some issue with regards to the hair, some sort of a medical issue or something, and then in that case there might be scope for the woman to show the hair, but otherwise generally no. There is a guy in my town that hates people who hate pork. He is disgusting at kafirs eating pork. He's very arrogant and always curses at people who eat pork. However, he doesn't do namaz. Okay, interesting. I think unfortunately there's a lot of people like that. Okay, Salah, not salary typo. Okay. Anwar Patel, can you explain how to balance Deen and dunya, please? The best way to balance Deen and dunya, I would say, is sit in the company of someone who you trust. There's no kind of like a guidebook that will tell you how to balance Deen and dunya. It's all about just being in the company of people, and that's how the Sahaba were. They were in the company of the Prophet ﷺ. They understood how to balance the Deen and dunya. They learnt it from practice. It has become very common amongst, and the problem is people. A lot of Muslims think that you can learn everything in how to be a good Muslim. You can't learn everything in how to be a good Muslim. As in, you can't learn it, in a classroom. So a lot of things have to be learned through experience, through watching other people, through sitting with them. A lot of things I learned from the practice of my teachers, sitting with them, listening to their jokes, how they used to speak outside. That's how I learned a lot of things. It has become very common amongst Muslims now to accuse others of misconduct, sexual abuse on social media, and they justify by saying we have proof. Is that Islamically acceptable? As in, sexual abuse is like a very broad term. Is then what does that exactly mean? So is it, for example, some sort of a chat conversation that they've been using and they've got snapshots of that? Or is it like touching, or is it intercourse or something like that, fornication, something of that sort? Okay, can you explain how to balance Deen and dunya, please? Okay, I think I answered that one. Okay, so technically, fornication can only be a person can only go to the judge, right, to establish that. You can't just kind of make it up yourself. You can't say, all right, this person's, I saw this guy kissing this woman or hugging this woman, that's it, they fornicated. I saw them both going to a hotel. You can't even say that. Like if you see a man and woman going into a hotel, or you see them hugging each other, or you see them kissing each other, you cannot say they fornicated. Right? You're not allowed to slander anyone at all. And someone might say, well, what else would they be doing? It doesn't matter. We can't do that. And if you do that in an Islamic court, you actually deserve a punishment for accusation, which is 18 lashes, which is a very severe thing, right? So we're not supposed to be, and we shouldn't be spreading rumors unless we actually have proof. And we shouldn't be, just because, I know there's an issue of victims as well, and, what is it, not me, or is it me not, what is it? I don't know, hashtag me too. Yeah, we shouldn't go into that kind of mentality just because other religions are doing it, or other societies are doing it. We should be very careful, verify every single thing 100% before we accuse anyone of anything. Otherwise, we are in fault. Can you explain how to balance it? He says namaz is body exercise. He swears a lot. He thinks selling alcohol is fine. He always curses people. However, he himself doesn't. Okay, why now? Which book are you currently reading? So currently, I am reading. Have I got my? Let me check it. My iPad is here. My iPad. Here it is. Right. So I got my iPad here. So I will tell you what books I'm reading at the moment. Most of the books I'm reading are PDF form. So I got my iPad. So this is a mashallah iPad. Some of my students chipped in for this iPad. So I put in half for it, and some of my students wanted to buy me a gift, so they chipped in for it as well. So mashallah, sadaqah jariyah for all of them. Every time I've been using this, I've been teaching, I've been giving talks, since about 2-3 months now, and they're getting a portion of the sadaqah jariyah. Alhamdulillah. So okay, I'll show you guys some of the books that I am reading. Alright, so I don't know if you guys can see. Right, can you see there? Yeah. Can you see it? Yeah. Okay. So here are the books that I am reading. These are all my books that I have. Right. Those are it. So I've got more on my laptop, but these are the ones I kind of regularly read, annotate, stuff like that. So I'll give you some names. Recently, Diwan Hamas, I regularly read that. A recent one that I've been reading is probably a commentary of a Hanafi text, a poetry. Al-Oud al-Hindi, which is a commentary of Mutanabbi poetry. There's a book which is about women poets. I've been reading that, their poetry. There's actually a book which is about the nature of women, Tabayu an-Nisa. Yeah, it's Andalusi Spanish scholar wrote it. And okay, I've been preparing for the dream course. Dream course is coming up, by the way. How many of you guys are attending? Put in the comments who's attending. This is going to be a very, very detailed course, inshallah, regarding how to interpret dreams. I'm not an expert. I always tell you guys I can't interpret dreams, so I'm not a practitioner in dream interpretation, but I can tell you how people go about interpreting dreams, like what the procedure is and what the things they look for, etc. I can tell you that. So that's what's going to be taught, inshallah, in the course. I've also been reading some usul fiqh books. Yeah, so those are the kind of that's the kind of stuff I've been reading at the moment. All right. Breed of cat meaning Persian, American, Bengal. I don't know. I mean, I don't know how many breeds are there. What's the ruling on listening to a khutbah that's spurring incorrect aqidah? Do you politely walk out, or should you carry on listening and pray behind the imam? My Isaac in uni is ignorant. Okay, I mean, for example, 3 types of Tawheed make Allah's attributes physical. Okay, yeah. So I mean, what I would just suggest is, in these kind of situations, if you're in a situation like that, carry on praying, and then maybe in the future don't attend such talks. If you're 100% sure that what the imam is saying is incorrect. If you think he's incorrect but you're not sure, then pray behind him is fine. Maybe speak to some other experts about what the scholar says, and maybe is it correct or sometimes what happens is someone might be speaking about something, and a person who's sitting behind them might not be fully aware, doesn't have like full knowledge of the whole topic itself, and they're just misunderstanding what he's saying. Okay, you're welcome. AQM Nads Mark GJJ. Kamran, is it best to have simple graves? Yeah, it's best to have simple graves. I mean, what's the opposite of simple graves? Anwar Patel, I am Hanafi. Should I repeat the salah that I prayed behind Salafis? Yeah, so no, you don't have to repeat them. They're fine. Yeah, there's a valid ikhtilaf regarding wipe. I know there's many Hanafis who say you can't wipe over socks at all, right? But I mean, from my understanding, my research, there's a valid ikhtilaf of other madhabs, and so it's fine. Jazakallah khair. Why now? All the answers, especially Hajj and Zakat one. Fiqh is beautiful. Alhamdulillah. Dummy email: is the beard fard, sunnah, or difference of opinion? Some brothers are suggesting there's a difference of opinion. So generally the scholars have said that having facial hair is fard. This is the opinion. Facial hair. How long must that facial hair be? There's ikhtilaf in that. That's the short answer. Can shaitan... Okay, let's see. Can shaitan hear the dua you make, or does Allah put a barrier between it? Can shaitan... I don't know, never thought about that. Can shaitan hear the dua? The thing is, I think sometimes what happens is we kind of make the shaitan a bit like MI5 and MI6. Although maybe MI5 and MI6 are shaitans. But I think sometimes we the way we kind of portray shaitan is as though he knows everything that's happening in the entire universe, and he's fully aware of our conversations, and he knows the homework that we did, and he knows the homework we copied, and he knows, no, shaitan doesn't know all these kind of things, right? Shaitan, obviously, he kind of knows stuff, but shaitan's mission is to derail people, to deviate them. That's what he does. So he's not like kind of sophisticated organization with everything bugged. Are you a teacher offline, and do you teach others that aren't Muslims? I am a teacher offline, and I do sometimes do talks, and there's non-Muslims there, but I don't kind of teach non-Muslims per se. Generally, I teach Muslims. Arnold Hanafij. If you work in a government job and they don't let you pray Jum'ah prayer, are you excused, or you must leave the job? Okay, so this is a tough question, this is, because Jum'ah is fard, obligation. What I would say is carry on praying, carry on working for the job. It depends what kind of job it is. Carry on praying. You would have to leave the job, but in long term you might want to look for a job that they'll allow you. Yeah, because missing out Jummahs all the time isn't really a good thing for the soul as well. So the job would be fine. You'd be allowed to pray. The earning would be fine as well. Anwar Patel, any tips of how to bring the Sunnah of Rasulullah SAW in our 24 life? Study, basic, study. I would say, study, learn about what we have to bring in our life, and then you know how to bring it into your life. Kamran, do you think politics should not be spoken about in mosques due to difference of opinions? It depends, I think. I mean, I don't know. I'm not truly kind of like expert in politics, but I think I mean, it all depends about politics. I think, sometimes people will start bringing Pakistani politics or Bengali politics or Indian politics into the mosques, and I think we've got to be very careful about that. Yeah, we need to mention in the mosques pertinent topics that our Muslims in our country, like in the UK, need to know. Like maybe there's some policies that the government's coming out with, and the Muslims, the wider community, need to know what's happening. So yeah, definitely those kind of things. A book, please. Oh yeah, yes, inshallah. هل تجوز صلاة المرأة التي ظهرت كعبيها؟ نعم، إذا كان ممكن. عليكم السلام. Do you have a preferred biryani, chicken, lamb, beef, seafood, or just bring on the biryani and biryani be gone? Sharif, bro, I don't know what you guys have in the States here. Yeah, but cut down, bro. Yeah, these kind of questions are too tough for me. Yeah, these kind of questions, they bring tears to my eyes. So chicken, lamb, beef, seafood. I mean, come on, man. This is a tough question. What? I give up, bro. I give up. Yeah. I confess, it was me. So I would say lamb, maybe. It depends, actually. Me, in the winter, I'm not supposed to eat red meat because it's not good for my arthritis. But I think if it was a choice between chicken and lamb, depending how it's made, maybe lamb. I remember once I used to teach these guys Arabic, spoken Arabic. This was like 8 years ago, maybe 9 years ago. And what happened was there was one guy in that group who was from Pakistan, Hyderabad. And this guy made this biryani. Yeah, he made it himself, Hyderabadi biryani. And that was the first time I tasted Hyderabadi biryani. Like that. And it was next level, guys. Yeah, so I don't know any of you guys, if you're like talented in tasting different biryanis and know the differences, but yeah, there's differences, guys. Yeah, that's the haqq. Yeah, that is the haqq. And if you don't know the haqq, then you know where the door is. Okay, what do you like, Sharif? What kind of biryani do you like? Sharif, are you Pakistani? It's All Saints hat or Next hat, Ralph Lauren hat. You can't like take 3-4 guesses. It's not like exam. You write down everything that you know about everything, and then just roll the dice to see if you got the answer right. Dima versus Toffee DT. Hi, hello. Abdullah Safi, what is the view of the Hanafi ulama regarding Tawassul and Istighatha? Okay, so Tawassul and Istighatha. So basic Tawassul is like normally when we ask Allah. So we ask Allah. We say, Ya Allah, please give me biryani. Ya Allah, please take me to Jannah. Ya Allah, please forgive me. Anything you want, ask for. Tawassul is basically you're asking Allah for something, but what you're doing is you want to boost that dua. You want that dua to go to another level of acceptance. So you ask Allah by mentioning something on the side as well. So just like those 3 men who were in the cave and they got locked in. Famous story. And then each one of them said, how are we going to get out of this cave? So the Prophet ﷺ said each one of them made dua and they asked Allah for something in their life they done good. So in other words, they said, oh Allah, because I done this action, open the door. So this is called Tawassul bil a'mal. Asking Allah to accept your dua because of a good action that you done. So can you do this with other individuals? Like you say, oh Allah, accept this dua because of this particular individual, the piety of this individual. So Umar radiallahu anhu, he did this and he asked, oh Allah, send us down rain because we have in our gathering the uncle of the Prophet ﷺ. So through the blessing of him, send rain down. And can we ask this through the love of the Prophet ﷺ that we have? So many of the scholars say yes. Most of the scholars actually in fact say yes. So Tawassul is something which generally is accepted. Istighatha is where you ask someone else, like someone who's passed away, you try to communicate with them and you say to them, Ask Allah. Like, I can ask Allah, but I want you to ask Allah for me. So it's like going to someone else who's not alive and asking them to ask Allah for you. So you're not asking the dua from the deceased person. You're actually asking that person to go and ask Allah. So is this allowed or not? It's called istighatha. Many of the scholars say no, it's not allowed, because it's like, what's the point of dua then? Like, the whole point of dua is you're supposed to ask Allah yourself. Why do we have to go through an intermediary? Like, this was something that the pagans used to do when they used to say, we worship Allah through the idol. Like, we ask the idol to ask Allah for us. So many of the scholars said no, this is not allowed. And others said no, it is allowed because your belief is correct. You are still asking from Allah, but it's just like if you go to someone living and you ask them, make dua for me. You can do that, can't you? So why can't you ask someone who's deceased? But then the question is, can a deceased person hear you? That's a whole like different issue in itself. So istighatha. Okay, assalamu alaikum. What is your actual driving the vehicle when it's time to pray? Would that be amal kathir? So again, I mean, would that be amal kathir? If you're driving the car, I mean, tough one, isn't it? So I mean, if you're driving on the motorway, you generally, if you're kind of steady, going at steady speed, and you're not really doing anything, your limbs are not moving too much, then I don't think it'll be amal kathir. But yeah, it's a good question. Wa alaikum assalam rahmatullah. Deen Hussein, your 17 lessons are a great start to learning Arabic from what I've seen out there. Jazakallah khair. CS DF CDDDF. You sound like a computer code. Thank you very much. Jazakallah khair. Yeah, alhamdulillah, mashallah. The 17 lessons has picked up quite a lot, mashallah. So many people around the world are studying it at the moment and sending their homeworks in, and alhamdulillah, all those who are involved in it, may Allah give them Jannatul Firdaus and lots of reward and barakah in their time and health and effort. Alhamdulillah. So I mean, I didn't really plan all of this, but this is how Allah plans things. I mean, but if the world is still benefiting, because we have to think about it now as Muslims, and especially as Muslims who are kind of conscious about their religion, conscious about their principles and faith, we are at the front line of protecting this religion. And the biggest thing we can protect this religion with is knowledge. I believe knowledge is the most important thing. And if we were to give all of our wealth and all of our life to knowledge, it still wouldn't be enough. But still, we have to do something. So the scholars in the past came, they did what they could, and they passed on their legacy. And now it's our turn now. So what are we doing? So I believe that in today's times, with all the technology and media and you know, social media interaction that we have, I think we should utilize this to empower people with knowledge. Give people, imagine all Muslims in the world knew the Arabic language and could understand the Quran. Imagine how much, you know, people would be saved from ignorance. And imagine people understood the religion, and imagine people could, you know, speak to other people and clarify misconceptions they have about Islam, because each individual knows what the Quran is saying. Big thing. So I think that's one of the drives, I would say, for this. And hopefully, inshallah, with all of you guys' support, inshallah, the YouTube channel as well, you know, putting up all the content and allowing people to get access to the videos we put up. I think this is going to be something which, inshallah, sadaqah jariyah for all those people involved, inshallah. And lots of people are contacting me and you know, thanking me for putting these videos up and helping them. So, and inshallah, you know, I'm going to try to do as much as I can, inshallah. Okay, can you make more videos on how to read the Quran? Yes, I think I'm going to have to make some more of those. Hopefully, I'm going to try to start making some more of those. I mean, I think I've made about 27 videos, haven't I? Okay, why now? You should do cooking and baking videos. Inshallah. Inshallah. Why not? Why not? Yes. The videos you make was helpful. I learned so much, but still need help how to read fluent. Inshallah. كثير من قوم باكستانيين يجبرون أولادهم أن يزجروا من الشخص الذي هو من قومهم. ما رأيك قضية أن يزوجوا من الشخص الذي هو من قومهم. نعم، ممكن يعني هذا حسب هذا. لا أعتقد أن هذا خاصة بالباكستانيين فقط، بل هذا شيء يعم جميع الأقوام. فكثير من الناس لا يطمئنون بالزواج من أقوام غير. نعم. فهذا شيء يعني بسبب أننا نعيش في بريطانيا نشعر بالقلق عندما نسمع أن أحد رفض أن يزوج بنته أو يتزوج من الوافدين ومن غير. CDDF, if there's an impurity on one's clothes but can't be seen, does it become impure? E.g., you suspect might be impurity. Yeah, if you suspect, then it's fine. If you basically suspect it's impure, but you're not 100% sure, it's fine. You count it as though it's fine. Yeah, you're not held responsible for that, because Allah does not burden a person more than their capability. Can someone follow the Maliki rulings regarding Tahara, all Tahara, not just wudu, and the Hanafi rulings regarding Salah? Would such a Salah be valid? Good question. This is a very advanced question that you're asking. I mean, personally, I would say that a person should, if a person's a researcher themselves and they feel more comfortable with following opinions of other, I think that would be allowed. But if a person's not a researcher and is just doing it just because of his own sort of like comfort, then I would say that would be wrong. Whether the salat will be valid or not, I think that's a separate thing. I think maybe it will be valid, but I don't think it's the right thing to do for an average person, because what that will end up doing is a person will be just cutting and chopping wherever they want to do. Yeah, and people will be just taking, fiqh, and the whole idea of, the Sharia being protected, preserved, and revolving around submission to Allah is going to fall, because we're not submitting to Allah anymore. What we're submitting to is our own selves. But if a person is doing it out of research purposes and they feel that this opinion, then there's scope for that, definitely. Will your dreams course be live streamed? Unfortunately, I don't think it will be. I'm thinking I might do it might be able to do it for my patrons. I'm just trying to see if it's going to be feasible, but I might be able to do it with the patrons, but otherwise generally not. Okay, how to avoid or stop backbiting? How do you stop backbiting? Hard thing that is. Yeah, just try your best, bite your tongue. Yesterday in Jummah we prayed Zuhur at 1:45 and 1:50 it was Asr. I was the only person to pray Asr as soon as I finished Dhuhr. Is my Asr accepted? I prayed in the masjid straight after Dhuhr. Yes, it should be, inshallah. Are you from UK? You're from the UK? Yeah, it should be. Why now? Why does it take so long to read Arabic books independently even after doing a million Nahu courses? Is it so demoralizing? I think that's the biggest mistake. I think people think they have to study lots of grammar to be able to read. You don't need to study grammar to read. Grammar is only there. I would personally say you only need 20% of grammar to really understand Arabic. The rest of the Arabic is simply knowing the meaning of words. That's what it is. So if you know the meaning of each word, and the best way to do that is to get yourself like a dictionary or something and try to figure out the meanings of words, or sit with someone who is more experienced and read to them and ask them to help you correct you. And that way, 3 or 4 months by you doing that, you're going to improve your Arabic so much. Grammar is only needed a little bit, but the problem is you can only know 20% if you study all of it. So it's like catch-22 situation. So I think a lot of people, that's why the 17 lessons is designed that you only need the bare minimum of the Arabic grammar to be able to start your journey in reading Arabic. And the idea after that is just to read lots of texts with someone, like read some Arabic literature. Okay, Sister Shabana, wa alaikum assalam, Ustad, how much level do you think one needs to study in grammar, intermediate, advanced, to start studying poetry with the aim of being helping get more understanding of Quran Hadith? You see, it depends. The thing about poetry, I would say, is that it depends how far you want to go into poetry, because you can study 1 year poetry, you can study 20 years of poetry, right? And it just depends what you want at the end of it. If you want to understand the Quran and Hadith, you don't need to study much poetry, right? You just need to study Arabic, and you just need to study a bit of like literature books. That's all. And you can go on to Quran, you can go on to Hadith. Wouldn't be a problem. But if you want to go in depth, the nuances, specialization, then you'd have to do quite a number of years of Arabic poetry. And it depends what you want. So if that's what you want, then definitely, yeah. I mean, at the moment, I'm like developing my understanding of Arabic poetry. So I am, for about past maybe year or two, I've been reading extra on poetry, extra books on poetry books that are not normally read, not normally taught. I've been reading those. I've been going through as much Arabic poetry as I can cover, classical and modern, and so yeah, that's my kind of aim at the moment. But it just depends what you want. So if you want to understand Quran and Hadith, in fact, I'm actually thinking about making a sort of like a syllabus for a person to be able to get into this, but I'm still in the process of designing it. But yeah, I don't know, how much of poetry have you studied, and what have you studied so far? Okay, Qasim, alaikum salam. Why now? I don't know if I follow Pakistani politics or not, but recently our government opened the Khirtarpur corridor to make it easy for Sikhs to visit their holy places. A lot of people called Khan Kafir. Yeah, I think I lived in Pakistan for 9 years, so I think I've got a good idea of Pakistani general public mentality. When I say general public mentality, what I mean is when they think together. Yeah, so individually, I think they're just normal human beings in Pakistan, but like in the UK, when people think together, their thinking is very different from how people think in Pakistan, and even individual thinking, I think, in Pakistan. Maybe it's the same in India, in Bangladesh, in other countries. You have differences. When I was there, main thing basically is the government's always wrong. That's what they always kind of say. People generally think government's always wrong. Police are always corrupt, which might be true in many cases. Number 3, everything is to do with some agents of the West, agents of Israel, agents of Russia. Yeah, they've got this kind of agenda. What else? Is that yeah, everything is against Pakistan. The whole world is against Pakistan. Pakistan are, the ones who are have the key to success. And so, I think there's this kind of mentality that people have, and what happens is people keep stirring it now and again. So any leader that comes, they're always going to find faults in him, right? And they're always going to have this issue. So I'd ignore it. People call them kafirs. People call all sorts of people kafir over there. Okay, what's your view on Aisha radiallahu anha in respect of fighting Imam Ali in the Battle of Jamal? I think it was just an ijtihad. It was an ikhtilaf. Fine. I mean, these kind of things we don't read. Like Umar ibn Abdul Aziz, someone asked him about this, and he said, Allah has saved our swords from their blood, so I think we should save our tongues from slandering them. So I think in these kind of issues, it's a historic issue we don't need to go into. It's not going to affect our iman. It's not going to bring us closer in salat. It's not going to improve our situation that we're living in today. So I don't think we need to really criticize anyone there. It happened, done and dusted, and let's carry on. Okay, lamb biryani is the best. Yes, lamb biryani, I think, probably. Chicken or lamb biryani all the way. Did you address hijab question? Sorry, I had to jump off. Yes. Yeah, so I did mention it. Hyderabadis make Sindhi biryani and it's absolutely amazing. Yes, it's excellent biryani. Where do I find and look for the course that you're speaking about in regards to dreams, reading, interpreting? Also, what could a non-Muslim do to learn more about culture in the people? The dreams course is going to be on site. It's not going to be online. So that's going to be in the UK, Birmingham. And also non-Muslims learn about culture in the people. I mean, I don't know really. I mean, maybe watching YouTube videos of these guys that go around visiting Muslim countries, and I think that might be a good starting point. Learn about Muslim countries and their food habits and their culture. Or I don't know, do you know any local Muslims? Maybe you could visit them, maybe you could see what they do. Is it okay for non-Muslims to attend the dream interpretation course? Yes, of course, definitely. They can attend. Imtiaz Chowdhury wa alaikum salam. Is one allowed to eat a sea snake? According to Hanafis, yes. They call it mar mahai, which is, I think, a Persian word. Yeah, so according to Hanafis, it's allowed. I mean, I don't know if how many species of sea snakes there are, but the ones they mention in the books, I assume they refer to the eel. I think it's the eel, isn't it? But if the sea snake is like a cobra or something, or a python, maybe no. Because I know snakes can survive underwater for a long time. So, but if it's a sea snake and you mean an eel, then yes, eels are allowed. CSDF, walaikum salam. Have you considered transcribing your 17 lessons of Arabic into a book form? That's an excellent idea. That is a wonderful idea. You know what? Actually, brilliant. I think, I don't know who you are, CDDF, and I'm going to call you CD from now on. So CD is correct. I think that's the next thing we've got to do. Yeah, that's the next step. So TAs, if you guys are listening, yeah, put your heads together and come up with something. Okay, Sharif will لا أنا أمريكي, but I keep company with the international group. Biryani Alims, mashallah, mashallah, ahlan wa sahlan, Sharif. Well, alhamdulillah. May the biryani be with you until you go toilet. Okay, Tun Ten Janal, alaikum salam, akhi. Why do you think for JS to Kennedy most MCs are nothing more than memes? Why do you think for J? I don't understand the word there. Apart from alaikum salam, akhi. Okay, James Vikri, assalamu alaikum. I hope you're well. Can you recommend any easy, accessible Arabic books for us students to read A-level above Qasas al-Nabiyin? Okay, so yeah, so I'll mention some to you. So these are some very good ones. Any book you can get that's written by Abu al-Hasan Nadawi. So if you go to Google, type in Abu al-Hasan Nadawi, you'll come to his website and it's got a whole list of books there. That's one. Number two is a guy called Kamil Kailani. Kamil, Kaf, Alif, Mim, Lam, Kailani. He's got a whole list of kids' books that you can read. Very good. Yeah. Then I think if you want to move on, then number three, maybe you want to read something like Ali Tantawi. Ali Tantawi books are also a good. What you can do is, I've actually found some recent sort of books that have been translated from English to Arabic, like novels, like, you know, Les Miserables. Is it called Les Miserables? Les Miserables. Yeah. Al-Ahzan, they call it in Arabic. There's that, and there's Tale of Two Cities. It's been translated to Arabic, and you can actually read that. It's very easy to follow. So have a go at those. I think those would be because then you'd be able to enjoy, kind of like, because you might be able to understand the English. You know what they're kind of trying to say as well. Yeah, so have a go at that. And otherwise, let me know, inshallah. What I generally do, I speak to a student, so maybe you can email me, tell me your situation, what you've been studying so far, and then I can give you a more specific. SMB, if an imam breaks his wudu during salah, does salah have to be redone? If imam breaks it with accident, no, it doesn't. He just has to put someone forward and they continue from where he left off. It's according to Hanafis. Anwar Patel, can you make a video on how to make a sunnah wudu ablution? Yes, that's a good idea, that is. I think I might do that. I'll make a note of that one. Yeah. Actually, you know what? Let me just write that down. I think it's a good point there. But these ideas, so if you guys got some good ideas, yeah, let me know, inshallah. I will put this down. Wudu video. Okay, I made a note of that one. Alright, let's see, next question. Yes, do you think we will be safe from copper? Do you think it's possible ancient Jews built boats and sailed to America? I have no idea. Will Purdue Owl be helpful in learning Arabic? Purdue Owl, what's that? Is that some sort of like book series or something? Okay, why now? I used to do something to stop me from backbiting. I just promised myself that I'd give £10 charity every time I did it, and it really worked. Yeah, excellent. Can Taraweeh be optional since it's not fard? Yeah, so it's like the issue basically with Taraweeh would be it's in the same ruling as like Sunnah Mu'akkadas as that. So, you know, Hanafi say it's something which is highly emphasized, and if a person belittles it, would be counted sinful. Would my Arabic improve if I read an Arabic copy of Harry Potter? Yes, definitely. Okay, basic low motion. I'm in UK. What asr time should I follow, the 1350 or the 4:30? I'm Hanafi, and according to Hanafi, asr is a bit later. Yeah, according to Imam Abu Hanifa, it would be the 2:31. But according to Abu Yusuf and Muhammad, it would be allowed at 150. So if you did pray at 150, you'd be following the opinion of the students of Abu Hanifa. A syllabus of poetry would be great, as it's not very common study. So many of us are unaware of how to go about studying it. Yeah, I think I might do that. The other thing is, I think it's not taught correctly in the madrasas. It's not taught correctly, because in madrasas what happens is it's taught purely a translation. So when people study poetry, because I studied poetry as well in madrasa, and it's basically like you study Mutanabbi or you study Mu'allaqat al-Saba, and it's just like translation. So it's like a story you're being told, but you're being told from Arabic to your language, English or Urdu. That's an incorrect way of teaching poetry. The way poetry is supposed to be taught is you're supposed to be able to feel it. So you're supposed to go through the poetry and show what the poet is trying to achieve in his poetry, and what devices he's using to achieve this. So when a teacher goes through the poetry in this manner and like focuses on this and gets the students thinking about this, that's the idea in poetry, is thinking, emotions, these thoughts that go whizzing around the head. Okay, what is the coolest place you have been to, and what is the coolest thing you have done? Coolest place, is it coolest as in coldest or coolest as in best? Coolest, the best place I think is Makkah and Medina, Masjid Aqsa. And what's the coolest thing you've done? I think live stream question answers. Okay, SMB, can waswasa be eternal? Waswasa be eternal? I don't understand that. What do you mean by that? We should have Q&A when the kitten is awake. You know, if the kitten's awake, it's just going to be jumping here, jumping there, in my head. Okay, vote for Labour. Okay, Roots, have you seen Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves? I think you would like it. Yeah, is it the one where is that, what's that guy, Kevin Costner in there? I think Kevin Costner one, yeah. Old, it's quite old. Yeah, I think I've seen that one. What's your favourite meme? I don't know, you know. There's loads of them. I think there's so many people make. They're very, very funny ones. Have you seen the one, the common ones that they have, like, you know, that Kermit the Frog and drinking tea? Have you seen that one? Bint Imran, alaikum salam. Any advice how to study Kitab Talaq in Hidayah? I get confused between all the different types. Yeah, you know, I think when it comes to fiqh, what you need to understand is the masla should be understood thoroughly in Quduri. You need to understand the masla thoroughly in Quduri. In Hidayah, you shouldn't focus on the masla, you should focus on the argument. Like what the argument is. Why are they saying what they're saying? What's the reasoning? So Hidayah is purely for reasoning. If you're studying the masla in Hidayah, then you haven't really done it correctly in Quduri. So that's why I think people need to understand the masla in Quduri just as a masla, what the masla is saying. And Hidayah should be focused on the reasoning behind it. Yeah, so that's and it all depends on who's the teacher. Is the teacher someone who's competent in teaching fiqh? Is the teacher someone who has lots of experience with fiqh? Is the teacher someone who knows real issues regarding talaq and these kind of things? If they're not, then I mean that is one of the problems as well. Okay, Muhammad Ismail, is the issue of taking different madhabs allowed? I know it's a broad question, but for example, a Hanafi taking an opinion of eating a shark steak simply because he likes it. Shark is allowed according to Hanafis. Yeah. Shark is totally fine. There's nothing wrong with shark. Hanafis allow shark. It's permissible. But yeah, your question regarding following different madhab. The Hanafis say, look, you cannot follow different madhab if you are going to do it out of tatabbu rukhas wa tashahi. Trying to search for like dispensations anywhere, try to collect all the madhabs on one table and you're trying to find all the easy opinions, right? That's not allowed. Number two is if you're doing it tashahi, if you're like submitting everything to your desires, what you want, that's not allowed. When you can do it is when you're in a situation where life becomes very difficult for you and taking the Hanafi opinion becomes very hard and taking the Maliki or the Shafi opinion becomes easy in that particular thing. That's where it's allowed. But in the other first two situations, that's not allowed. Okay, can you make a video about a personal library? Yeah, I think everyone asked that one. Inshallah. I will do, inshallah. As you said, vocab is important in learning Arabic. Could you recommend some good vocab books to learn a lot of commonly used vocab? Reading a dictionary is a bit boring. Look, What you have to remember is, when you're learning any language, no one ever reads a dictionary. Okay, that is the biggest mistake people make. You don't read a dictionary to learn language. Dictionary is an aid. It helps you in figuring out what words mean. What you need to read is different genres of books. That's what you're asking. So you need to read books, for example, on, let's say, cooking. You need to read books on politics. You need to read books on fiqh. You need to read books on tafsir. You need to read books on kids' stories. Read different genre. Once you start reading different genre, you're going to come across different words that are being used. So when I teach Arabic, basically, I teach Arabic, spoken Arabic. So what I do every single lesson is I'll have a topic, and then I'll get the students to talk, and then all those words that are related to that topic that generally people use, I'll brainstorm them on the board, and then I'll get the students to talk about those words. So if you're talking about car, the words you're going to be using are going to be more car orientated. If you're talking about, let's say, going to the shops, you're going to talk about things about going to the shops, verbs that are to do with shops, nouns to do with shops. If you're talking about, let's say, politics, you're going to be talking about words. That's how you're going to improve. So that's one way you can do it. Another way you can do it is you actually lots of writing. Write an essay, take a topic, write an essay, send it to someone. You can send it to me if you like, and get them to go through it, and then you kind of like the teacher will tell you, okay, look, this is the feedback, this is what you need to improve. And that way it makes you more active. Instead of being passively learning vocab, you become more actively learning it. That's the more powerful way. Okay, Anwar Patel, how do you know if a chip shop sells halal chicken, etc.? Are all chip shops that are HMC halal? So you ask them. Simply just go to them, ask them, brother, are your chips halal? Or are your, not chips, is your chicken halal? If they say halal, trust them. Unless you've seen them do something dodgy. How do you feel poetry? What is your favorite poem? How do you feel poetry? How do you feel a film? When you watch a film, how do you feel it? Like if you watch a horror film, or you watch a romantic film, or you watch, let's say, a kid's film, whatever, how do you feel it? How do you get into it? How does it make your emotions turn? How does it make you think? That's what I mean by feeling. My favorite poetry? I don't know, it's a tough one. I've got many. Teratei Milor, Walaikum Assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How are you, and how's the weather? Weather is raining outside and it's cold, and I'm very well. Jazakallah khair. How are you? How is the weather in Malaysia? I meant can waswasa go away when you get older? Yes, it can, definitely. The big thing about waswasa, guys, look, if you have very bad waswasa, you must speak to your doctor. People think that the Maulanas have the answer to waswasa. They don't, trust me. Many people come to me with issues with waswasa. I tell them, go doctor, speak to your doctor. It's many times, right, what happens is it's a chemical imbalance, it's something wrong, and then you need encouragement. Sometimes you might need medication, you need some sort of like a program to go on, and the doctors help you with all these things. You need someone to speak to, right, and people have got through it. Yeah, so people think that Maulanas, like waswasa, is to do with Islam. It's not to do with Islam. It's a general thing that people suffer from, non-Muslims as well. Are you excited for Star Wars 9? Oh, is it coming out? Oh, excellent. Okay, Muhammad Ismail. Talfiq continued, him taking the opinion has no implications on another action, unlike if a Maliki was to take an opinion of Shafi in Salah, which is interconnected with other actions. Yeah, that's an issue. Like, if you're taking a particular issue and you're like, just like, it depends what you're taking actually, basically. So for example, like if you say something like, I don't know, I don't need to my witr, for example, I can pray 2 rakats of witr and then 1 rakat instead of 3 rakats, stuff like that. I think that wouldn't be allowed, because there's no real need for that. And then talfiq, as in one action itself that's made up of several components, and you're just changing one component and finding a different madhab in that component. That is something that should be avoided. That is something that is disliked according to the Hanafis. What is your favorite animal? At the moment, cat. If you could meet any other scholar from history, who would they be? Any scholar, I mean even Sahaba, is that what you're saying? I would say Umar radiallahu anhu. I think Umar radiallahu anhu. So yours traveling with a group of Muslims, combine Dhuhr and Asr at the early part of the Dhuhr in order to travel until sunset. You follow Hanafi fiqh. How do you deal with that situation? You know, in that kind of situation, someone asked me this before. Well, I said to them, look, is it going to become inconvenient if they have to stop for you? If it is going to become inconvenient, then just pray with them. Yeah, in that kind of situation, you want, because travelers, you want to keep them together all the time. And you want the convenience not to be for yourself. You want it to be for the majority. Are you interested in the Islamic exhibition at the British Museum? Do you generally visit museums? I haven't been, but I would love to go. Definitely, I'd love to go. I have a friend who keeps telling me, come to London. He can come by train and we'll go to the museum and we'll check it out. But he's been asking me since, I don't know, February, something like that. But I really want to go. Harun, if you're watching, yeah, trust me, I still want to go. Yeah, I know you keep telling me. White Elephant, how many languages do you know? I know 4 languages. Ultimate Challenger Gamer, what's the best approach that I should take in studying for my alim course, as I have 1 week left? How can I catch up, get as much revision as possible in order to pass under pressure? So basically, you're a Safa student. That means you got 1 week to go. So what you basically need to do is you need to sort out your schedule, your time. So get your time schedule. And remember, trying to procrastinate and put everything in the last moment isn't really healthy for your studying. But just sort out your time, work out your sleep, write down for yourself a schedule and say, okay, from this time to this time in the morning, I'm going to focus on this book. This time to this time on this book. This time I'm going to have a rest. Of course, we see my friends, like that. Yeah, so make yourself a timetable. Hassan Rizzi, what does person need to do to study if they want to switch madhabs? Just study a different madhab. How do I train in a gym environment that is the best and convenient gym for me? However, there's not many girls and loud music. How can I cope with this to preserve and protect my iman? I mean, I think that's a very common sense answer there, right? You don't really ask me that question. You can answer that yourself. Okay, why now? My cousin is going through this problem of waswasa and she comes to the UK for treatment, and they have excellent strategies and treatments to help patients. Definitely, I think that is the best thing. So many people I've seen, have gone through these kind of things. And yeah, doctors help a lot. People underestimate the help they can get from professional doctors, medics. And I'm telling you, don't go to your local imam if you're suffering from waswasa. He most likely will just give you some dua to read and something, and it won't go away. How do I remove waswasa when it comes to taharat and istinja? Also doubts about validity of wudu. Go see a doctor. Trust me, you probably think this is I'm being serious, but it's very true. It's not an Islamic thing. It's something inside of a person that needs fixing. Sometimes it might be a chemical imbalance, it needs medication. Sometimes it needs speaking to a therapist. A book, please, before you finish, inshallah. Do you watch Jordan Peterson's videos? If so, do you like them? I don't really watch them. I've watched a few. I'm not too much into his kind of stuff. What is your favorite song? What is your favorite song? What is your favorite? It's not what is your favorite today. Okay. Alright, let's have a look at a book. Okay, so let me see. Okay, so this book of mine is a very good book. Alright. So this is a book. This is called Al-Ajwabat al-Fadila, and I think this is a very good book for any student of hadith or usul hadith who's serious about usul hadith. I think, yeah, so this is a very good one. So this one basically is called Al-Ajwabat al-Fadila, Al-Asilat al-Ashar al-Kamila. It's by Sheikh Abdul Hayy Laknawi. So basically, see, these are, I've read this book so many times, and these are like notes I've made from it. These are like all these kind of summarized notes I made from this. They're all in Arabic, but you won't be able to read it. Before you ask me, can you send me them? I make all my own notes. So this is basically what happened. Was there was a scholar in India who was Ahlul Hadith scholar, and he wrote 10 questions. Like, he wrote a letter with 10 questions to Sheikh Abdul Hayy Laknawi. And so Sheikh Abdul Hayy Laknawi, he wrote the answers, and then this basically was the answer. This whole entire book is the answer that letter he wrote, 10 questions. But it's very, very detailed, and it's very, important, like I said, for any student of knowledge to kind of read over it and to kind of study as well. I would say study. I definitely think it should be taught, and I'm thinking about teaching this as well, teaching to my students. Okay. So this is the book. So I think this book will be very good for people who have studied Usul Hadith to read through. It's quite advanced. I would say it's very advanced. Okay, I'm going to finish now. I'm just going to last few questions and then that's it, inshallah ta'ala. Okay, have you traveled to USA? Any plans for a Deeni visit? I haven't. I actually was supposed to travel maybe about 9 years ago, but I got denied a visa. So they have the ESTA thing you have to fill in online. So I filled it in and they denied me. I wasn't welcome. So I don't know, maybe in the future I might, if I do happen to go, I might try again, but at the moment I haven't been allowed. Why now? And they completely understand if you tell them about Tahara and wudu. Definitely doctors understand. Have the questions tired you out? Yes, as you guys can see from the sound of my voice. I need to drink tea now. Do you recommend Arabian Nights? Arabian Nights, I don't know. Is Arabian Nights, you mean the book? The English one, if it's English, Alf Layla, 1,000 Nights. Who's your favorite Quran reciter? At the moment, favorite Quran reciter is a few. One is Nasir al-Qatami. I think he's good. There's another guy, he's called Sheikh Mansour Salim. He's good as well. And who else? Sheikh Abdul Rahman Sufi. If you've heard of him, Abdul Rashid Sufi. He's very good. I don't know, what do you guys like? Who's your favorite reciter? Do you enjoy visiting Barnes and Nobel? I don't know what that is. Okay, wa alaikum assalam, brother. I recognize you from the tafsir in a Sofa Institute. I was the young brother who used to attend. My mother forced me to go, but alhamdulillah, I enjoyed it and learned a lot. MashaAllah, King Kwang. Whoa. Oh yeah, okay. So your mother used to force you to spend the brother side, yeah? I see, MashaAllah, alhamdulillah. You've probably grown up now. Probably can't even recognize you. But alhamdulillah, yeah, come down sometime to us, Sofa. Come down and meet me, inshallah. How many countries have you been to? How many countries I've been to? I don't know. Not many. I'm not too much of a traveler. Maybe 6 countries, 5, 6 countries, 7 countries. Do you prefer leatherback books, paperback books, or hardcover books? I think leather ones. Very rare to get though. What's your favorite Islamic bookstore, online and offline? I don't know. I mean, offline, I think there's a local one, Osmani Bookstore. If any of you guys have heard of it. You should do a video on the best Islamic bookshops online. Yeah, I mean, I don't really know many of them. Yeah, to be honest. Have you read The Wealth of Nations? If so, have you enjoyed it? I haven't read it. Also, have you watched the series Ertugrul on Netflix? No, I haven't watched it. I've heard a lot about it though. Ertugrul is amazing. Do a Qaida book for YouTube. Okay. Not Al-Qaida book. Qaida, you mean Alif Ba, yeah? Khadija Al, best shuruhat for Mishkat al-Masabih. The best shuruhat, I would say, for students, there's 3 I would recommend. There's one is called what is it called? Milqat al-Mafatih, Mullah Ali Qari's. There's one called Mura'at al-Mafatih by Al-Mubarak Puri. And there's one called Sharh al-Tibi. It's actually by the teacher of Imam al-Tabrizi, his teacher. These are 3 that are very good. Yeah, so Mirqat al-Mafatih, Mura'at al-Mafatih, and Tibi, Sharh al-Tibi. And there's a 4th one by Sheikh Idris Kandelwi called Ta'liq al-Sabih. Ta'liq al-Sabih is very, very good. It's very short, concise Arabic, gets to the point. These are 4 I would recommend. In Urdu, there's some as well, Mazari Haq. and some others, but yeah, those ones are good. Okay, have you been to London? Yes, I'm watching with the God now. So good, alhamdulillah. Do you got Disney Plus? I don't know. Barnes and Noble is a popular bookshop. Okay, is it? I didn't know that. Do you know a good English Sirah book? Yeah. If you read, it depends what you were looking for. Are you just looking for story? Then Martin Ling's, right? Martin Ling's Muhammad is very good. And if you're looking for more detailed kind of academic work, then a book like Sirat Mustafa by Mona Idris Khandelwi. It's been translated to English. 3 volumes. Very good. Mona Idris Khandelwi Sirat Mustafa. What's the difference between Alim, Mufti and Sheikh? Alim simply means someone who is knowledgeable. Sheikh just means someone who is respected. And Mufti means someone who has done a course and issues fatwas. For teachers, same. For teachers, yeah, definitely. For teachers, I would suggest those for teachers as well. You're welcome. Inshallah, I'll come another time if I find that you are a good teacher and I understand what you're saying. Alhamdulillah. Thank you very much, King. White Elephant, could you do a video where you review the Arabic class on Purdue Owl? Purdue Owl. It's free in Europe. I haven't seen Purdue. I'll look for Purdue Owl. Is love marriage haram? No. Touching someone unlawfully is haram. And communication, if it's flirting. Zahra Khan, if someone knows only Surah Ikhlas, can they look from their phone in Salah and read another surah? No, not according to Hanafis. No. The Nurani Qaidas Babil Quranic. Okay. Yes. Jazakallah khair for answering the questions. It was enjoyable. Alhamdulillah. MP, Jazakallah khair. And MP, although you didn't support me in my pool game, but khair, chalo. Yeah, I forgive you. Yeah, I'm a good guy. I forgive people. One wants to join Seekers of Knowledge. When does it start? Have tuition on Saturdays. Seekers of Knowledge, I'm not sure, She'll have to tell us to check on the website. I'm not sure when it starts. Barakallah feekum. Have a nice day. And you too as well. Did you study in a Sufa? No, I didn't. I studied in Pakistan. Are you going to buy anything fun on Black Friday? I don't think so. Yeah. Which modern book of Usul Fiqh you recommend? Modern book of Usul, I've come across a recent one. It's by Sheikh Judai. I heard that's very good. I haven't really kind of gone through it, but I was recommended it and I heard that's very good. Okay, so Jazakallah khair, guys. Thank you very much. As you guys can see, my eyes are dead. Yeah, and mashallah, you guys have been with me all the way throughout. May Allah reward you. 2 hours. Yeah, put in the comments if you've been here all 2 hours. Put in the comments, yeah, if you've been here all 2 hours. Mashallah, I gotta give you a shout out if you've been one of those proper soldiers, yeah, or soldieresses. Alhamdulillah. So I try to do live streaming. I'm try to help answer some of your questions. May Allah reward and protect your family. Ameen. This one next. Ameen. Sharif. May Allah unite us in this dunya one day, inshallah. Hope to meet you as well, Sharif. Do you believe Mr. Beast has that much money? No, I believe Mr. Beast does not have that much money. Yeah, I want Mr. Beast. I want you to prove to me you have that much money. I don't believe you have that much money. If Mr. Beast is watching this, me, I have. MashaAllah. Jazakallah khair, brother. I can mostly. I come too late. I just came. For the book review. Alhamdulillah. I've been watching for 1 hour. Brother, can Tarawih be performed with only one Hafiz? Yes, of course. Was here for most of it. Alhamdulillah. MashaAllah. So shout out to MP. Yeah. And M.I. Khan. Yeah. M.I. Khan. Unknown Era. You came too late, bro. Rehan Mir just came. Okay, why now? Yeah, why now? Always, yeah. I've been watching for 1 hour, brother. Okay, you get 2 ears. Okay, I was here most of the time. Zara Khan, yeah, most of the time. I was first here too. Do you watch KSI? Nah, I don't watch KSI. That's just drama to me, I think. Him and that Logan guy. 2 hours, Ishan. Yeah. Okay, so you actually, what you get is, yeah. So cat basically loves this. I don't know why cat loves this. Just jumps, puts his bites this. Yeah, and does like kind of like some GBH. Yeah. To this and harms it. So cat loves this. Anyway, so Jazakallah khair, guys. Let me know, guys, what you think of the pool thing. Yeah, if you guys think you like the pool. Yeah, it's because sometimes I need a rest time. Yeah, and sometimes it's nice for me to just play pool. But if I know you guys are watching me play pool and you'll enjoy it, then I'll live stream it. But if you guys think that it's not something that you'd be interested in, then I won't live stream it. I'll just play pool silently. Yeah, like a loner. I'll play pool like a loner, and I'll just do my own self commentary. Inshallah, Mr. B converts to Islam and give all that money to charity. Inshallah, Ameen, Ameen. Everyone say Ameen. Yeah, his side, man. Did you watch the one when everyone had to touch the Lamborghini, and the last person to touch it gets the Lamborghini? You clearly need sleep. Yes, I clearly do. Had a good podcast on Urtugal. Okay, excellent. Podcasts are good, isn't it? I think maybe start a podcast here. Maybe I should start a podcast. I know. Maybe I should start a podcast, and maybe what I would do, maybe once a month, one of you guys, I choose one of you guys, and we have like a Skype podcast. What do you guys think? I think that would be good, I can choose some of you guys. We can have discussions on things. I was sad poor Logan lost, but that's because I'm American. Oh, yeah. That's it. KSI is London, isn't he? Oh, yes. I know. We want Kitten next time. Oh, yeah. Yeah, inshallah. She's grown up now. She's become like a boss now. They had one of the actors on there. Are you a professor? Well, I do teach, so in that sense, yeah. Your live stream are very interesting. Jazakallah khair, SMB. Thank you very much. SMB, we should meet up sometime. I think you're from Allen Rock, yeah? Thanks, bro, for the live stream. You're welcome. Add me on April Wall. Yeah? You want to play me? Okay, so leave me your your ID or something. Okay, mine is El Zaman. So if you want to add me on April Ball, I think mine is El Zaman. El Zaman. Okay, when's the next live stream? Okay, no live stream. It was good. Did we watch all of Mr. Beast's videos? He's insane. Not all of them. I watched this one. 10 hour. He just reads a dictionary. Imagine that. 10 hours. Crazy. Maybe someone should do that. A full marathon in someone reading a book, like the entire Quran. Very good. Okay. Yes, start a podcast with Sheikh Zahid too and talk about your trips. Make a podcast with all your friends in so far. Well, I'm a professional Fortnite player. Alhamdulillah. Allah has blessed me. You're a proper Fortnite player, yeah? Now, I haven't really got into Fortnite, so I wouldn't be able to comment there. But anyway, thank you very much, guys. And Jazakumullah khair. This is a Ferreira Rocher. This was Birmingham University. If you're out there, yeah, Birmingham University ISOC. If you're watching, yeah, this is a box of Ferreira Rochers they gave me last Friday, because I gave a Jummah talk there. And it all hasn't finished yet. So when the guy gave me, I said to him, may Allah give you calories like you gave me calories. And the guy's face changed. And then I said, in Jannah, obviously. Ilham Feed is owned by my uncle. MashaAllah. May Allah bless you, uncle. Alhamdulillah. Shaitan. I know. I must register that one. Mr. Beast did that on purpose so his videos go viral, and they did. Yeah, he does that. Yeah, but come on, man. He probably does sit down for 10 hours reading an entire book and watching these stupid clips for like crazy amounts of time. Alright, guys. Jazakallah khair. I will see you guys next time. Thank you very much. And make du'as for me as well. Make du'as for my friends and all of you guys as well, for each other. A big yay for you, Sheikh Zaman. Thank you very much. You're welcome. You're welcome. Yay to me and my new hat as well. Yeah. And I will inshallah see you next time. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.